My name is Gary Garrison. I've been the pastor at Second Baptist in Huntsville for about 25 years. And outside of preaching, my passion has been strength and conditioning and training. I've served as a strength and conditioning coach at a private school here in town for the football team for, I don't know, probably 15 years or so. I do a little training on the side. And anyway, that's just kind of my thing outside of football or outside of preaching and ministry. And so I have lifted for a long time. And Roger knows more about this, but I've kind of reversed bivocational. My church is actually growing larger than it's ever been. And I went bivocational back in October. And so my wife and I, we bought Ironworks Health Club in town. It's got about 4,000 members or so in it. And so we are splitting our time between the gym and also pastoring the church, which has been, that's another talk for another day about all the lessons we're learning there. But so physical training and just kind of all that stuff is just right up my alley. And Roger asked me to talk a little bit about that. And so a couple of things I want to share with you guys, because I don't know if this is a thing for y'all or not, but it has been for me. Over in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7 and 8, it talks about, Paul says that, bodily training is of some value, but godliness is valuable for all things. And, every time I read that, it made me feel guilty for working out and lifting. And so it kind of created this guilt complex inside of me. But what I have discovered about me, and I don't pretend that that's true for everybody, is that my spiritual life tracks with my physical life. And if I'm doing well physically, then I'm doing better spiritually. I don't know if that's because I'm not very spiritual or if that's a real thing for everybody, but that's just been true for me. And so obviously I want to keep Jesus as a priority in my life, but I've recognized that if I don't take care of myself physically, then my spiritual life is not as good. And I've found that to be true in a lot of other people's lives as well. So I was thinking about that actually the other day and reflecting on Paul and his struggle with his thorn in the flesh over in 2 Corinthians 12. And you guys know the story. But here's what I discovered about Paul. Is that Paul was struggling spiritually because he was suffering physically. And we understand, God's answer to him that my grace is sufficient, for my power is perfected in weakness. But it was still true. Paul actually needed a direct word from God to be able to work through emotionally and mentally just where his spiritual life was, because he was suffering physically. And guys, when we don't feel well physically, that's going to affect us in a lot of different ways. And so the reason why I share that with y'all is, again, I don't know if y'all struggle with that or not, but it was always kind of a guilt complex for me going to the gym and doing something for myself, focusing on my body or whatever. We're all guys here, but my wife's the only one that sees me with my shirt off, so it isn't for anybody else, right? And so anyway, just want to encourage you guys to take care of that aspect of your life. Actually listening to a book right now, and this has a lot of different application. I want to throw it out to y'all. It has application to physical health, but a lot of other things too. But it's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I don't know if y'all have read that or listened to it, but it is a great book on establishing habits in your life. And he actually challenges the presupposition of you and I establishing goals in our lives. He's like, we don't need to be worried about goals because we shoot for these goals and we're not really ever even happy until we reach them. And when we do reach them, we got to set new goals because we just reached that one. And so we got to have something else to shoot for. And so he suggests that we create processes, which in another word is habits in our lives, to get us to where we want to be. We still need to know where we want to be, But if we can envision the process and the habits that we need to establish, it's going to make a whole lot of difference in our lives. And as we know, and whether it's in health or preaching or spirituality, the habits, they're slow moving. They don't change overnight. There's a lot of different examples he gives. I'll give a short one. He says, there's this ice cube and they put it on a table in the middle of a room and it's 27 degrees. And so it's ice. I mean, it's frozen. And they raise the degree to 28, and then to 29, and then 30, and then the 31, and then the 32. And then the ice starts to melt, at that point. And it was 1 degree at a time that made the difference for that ice cube to move from a solid form into a liquid form. And so the way that works in health, we can all decide tonight that, man, I'm going to start eating better. I'm not going to eat fast food anymore. And I'm going to do better. But the truth is tomorrow, nothing's going to be any different. We're not going to necessarily feel any different. We may actually go through withdrawals. We don't like the way we feel because we're not eating what we're used to eating. You want to cut sugar out of your diet, that'd be a great thing. But you can do that for a week. It's not going to make a big deal. It's not going to make a big difference in your life. You want to go join a gym, you do that for 3 days, what's the difference? You're sore. That's it. But when you stack those habits on top of one another, and you build those processes into your life, and again, whether it's physical or something else, that's when you really begin to make the biggest changes, because you move from 27 to 28 to 29 to 30 to 31, 32 degrees. And eventually, once you've stacked the appropriate habits on top of one another, then you're going to be at the place that you're really going to be able to see a difference in your life. We know, spiritually, people turn their life around and they expect everything to change in a moment's notice. It doesn't work that way. They need to be seeking the Lord every single day. They need to be in church on a weekly basis. They need to be in prayer, and it's stacking those habits together that begins to really work that confirmation process of Jesus into their lives. And so the same thing's true physically as well. Same principle as well. So I just want to encourage you guys, if you need a book, Atomic Habits would be a great book for you guys to listen to. But getting down to just like the specific part of this, because this goes quick, man. Nutrition, what you drink matters. And this is nothing new that y'all haven't heard before. Hopefully it will be an encouragement to you to maybe start a new habit in your life. Water's a great thing, and that's important for our bodies. And so I'd encourage you to drink that as much as possible. I still drink Diet Dr. Pepper, but all the other sodas and stuff with sugar in it, you just got to cut that stuff out, because sugar just does a lot of damage to our body. And whether that is in packaged form or in, processed form or whatever, sugar's got to go. But you want to drink as much water as you can. I know we're all Baptists here, and I love that Sonic drink right there, bro. All right. Yeah, there you go. But anyway, like I said, those things are not good for us. If you want a good substitute for sugar, stevia, because it's kind of a natural form of sugar, that's the best sweetener that's out there right now. But like the bread, the pasta, the ice cream, the cakes, the cookies, anything with white flour, because white flour actually is processed by your body and converted into sugar. And so that's why breads and pasta and rice and anything that's white is not good for you. And so you just gotta kick it out. The best thing, and this is what I tell people at the gym and in other places as well, eat food in its natural form. If you want to put a Christian spin on it, eat it the way that God made it. He gave us these cool little packages called bananas and apples and oranges and animals and things like that. So you want to, the paleo diet's been a popular one out there. Only eat the foods that a caveman could eat. And if a caveman couldn't eat it, you don't eat it. But again, that goes back to, it's just how God made food to be eaten and consumed by us as part of his creation. And when you eat it that way, you lose weight and you feel better and you live longer and you live much healthier lives. If you don't, whatever you sow, you reap. That's kind of how that works. And then do something. Again, lifting is my deal, and it's something that I enjoy doing. And so I do it. So it does not matter what you do. Just do what you will do, because that's the best thing for you. So I like to lift. I kind of like to jog and run. I don't like CrossFit too much. I like swimming a whole lot less than that. And so I don't even try to swim because I don't like it. I'm not going to do it. So whatever it is that you guys like to do, whether it's walking or running or jogging or spin class or lifting weights, or golf is not a great exercise. I guess it's better than nothing. But find something you're going to like to do, because that's the best chance that you have to do something. And then listen, the key to this too is to be consistent. And that kind of goes back to the atomic habits and the processes you want to build in place. You got to be consistent in your eating. You can't do it for a week and then fall off the wagon and then never do it again. Same thing with exercise. You got to do that stuff. You got to be consistent in those things. And you can spin off of what Roger said. You got to have a plan. We are a lot more likely to do what we set our minds to and what we actually put down on paper. And if we do not write it down, then the chances of us doing it, it's going to be slim to none. And so anyway, like I said, that was a good book on the habits thing. You can use that for food and eating and exercise and spirituality and all that good stuff. But appreciate you guys and appreciate all your ministry, and God bless y'all. I'll turn.